On today's show, doesn't it seem like every week there's another data breach? Well, you're not going to believe the alarming statistics released in a mid-year report. There's one thing you need to do right now to make sure you're not a hacker's next victim. And Virgin Galactic is about to open the first commercial spaceport. It looks out of this world. Plus, a young smarty pants CEO noticed there wasn't much for first-time coders. So she invented a board game that teaches the basics. And finally, in today's digital life hack, insider tips to improve the performance of your smartphone and help you put up that painful and expensive upgrade. All this plus more digital know-how and, of course, your phone calls here on Komando. It's official. Apple's new credit card is open for business to everyone in the United States. Before you get it, you have to do one important thing, though. But first, Apple's new credit card brings a few great things to the table. A 3% cashback offer at Apple stores and a few merchants like Uber. Apple promises more to come. The card is made of titanium, just like the mystical American Express Black Card. No annual fee, no late fees, no international fee, no over-limit fees. The card's annual interest rate starts at 13% and goes up to a whopping 24% based on your credit history. But before you sign up, there's an arbitration clause buried in the Apple Card agreement. If you've agreed to an arbitration clause and a legal issue comes up, you've basically put the final say into the hands of an arbitrator who was picked by said company. And who do you think they're going to side with? That and most clauses take away your ability to sue a company or join a class action lawsuit. Here's the thing Apple doesn't want you to know, though. You can opt out of the arbitration clause, but they don't make it easy. You can do it by using the Messages app, calling a toll-free number, or sending a letter through snail mail. We've got those steps on Komando.com. Now, you can only manage the card through an iPhone or other iOS devices. So if you thought it was odd that Apple went into the credit card business, it's not strange at all. Just part of their greater plan to keep you from switching, no matter how much better other smartphones are becoming. Okay, if you listen to my show and visit the website, you've probably noticed that the topic of data breaches, it comes up pretty often. And this year is on track to be the worst year ever for data breaches. The number of data breaches is up 54% year over year in the first half of 2019. The number of records exposed is up 52%. All right, let me put those numbers into perspective. In just the first 6 months of this year, there have been 3,800 data breaches reported. That's right, nearly 4,000 breaches. And get this, it only took 8 of those breaches to expose more than 3.2 billion records. Combine that with breaches over the previous years, and chances are you've had some personal data compromised. Hopefully, it's just your email address. I know this is the last thing you want to add to your to-do list, but now you need to change all your passwords to all your online accounts every 3 months. I've got a link to a list of the data breaches and some password changing tips at Komando.com. And in related and surprising news, 700,000 people like staying at choice hotels. All right, attention, all you folks who use Instagram. Things are changing for those so-called Insta celebrities. You see, back in April, Instagram said that they were going to try something new, and it's starting to roll out right now. You can see how many people like your own post, but you can't see how many people liked another person's post, like a competitor's. And here's the thing. Companies pay about $2 billion annually to Instagram influencers. Top of the list, Kylie Jenner, who makes over $1 million every time she shares a captioned photo with her 143 million followers. That's a tough gig. And while regular users and influencers can see their own likes, it could make a big difference when they can't see others. Like, what if regular Joe Instagram user sees an influencer pitching a product, but doesn't know how many people have liked the post? How does he know if he'll like the product if he doesn't know how many others like it? Yeah, that's the world we live in. And I always laugh when an influencer says something along the lines, "Love to unwind with a cool drink in the Greek islands." I mean, seriously, what's your go-to way to relax after a long work week? Moving on to new TVs, the biggest things people look at when they're buying a television are typically the size and the resolution. So when the 70-inch 4K TV shows up at your doorstep, you think you're all set up, right? Well, there's something else you should be paying attention to when you're out there shopping, and it's gaining traction right now in the stores. It's called High Dynamic Range, or HDR for short. And resolution aside, it enhances what's on your screen in other ways, like better contrast and a wider range of colors. For example, take an average 4K TV. Each pixel can produce about 250 shades of 3 colors. Now, combined, that's about 16 million colors per pixel. Okay, but with HDR, you get more than 1,000 shades of each color, meaning over 1 billion colors for each pixel. Now, before you go looking for that new TV that spells out HDR, hang on, because of course there are 2 different standards with 2 different names. First, there's HDR10, which is more common. Then there's HDR Dolby Vision. That's the step up in quality. Something else to consider is content that streams in HDR. It won't do you any good to have a fancy new HDR TV if what you're watching is of lower quality. Find out everything you need to know about all of this at komando.com. But think about how far we've come. Years ago, changing TV channels from a sitting position was just a remote possibility. Finally, let's talk about public toilets like those on the side of the road or at a park. Most of the time, they're just gross. Hang on, they're getting a smart upgrade. There's a public bathroom at a park in Wales, and the town council is set to spend more than $200,000 on some high-tech improvements. And I'm not just talking about your typical smart toilets that can clean themselves. There are some major security features on these pay-to-use toilets. They are public, after all, so for starters, the walls and floors are graffiti-proof. There are also sensors that detect smoking and taking naps inside. I guess that's common. Oh, and it's one at a time, folks. These bathrooms have sensors that can detect if there's more than one person in the same stall. Apparently, people doing a little hanky-panky in the stalls are a problem. If that happens, the system will open the stall door, sound a high-pitched alarm, and shoot jets of water on them. Okay. That'll certainly kill the mood. All right, I'm really excited about today's show. We're going to take a look at the bed of the future that's just crazy full of tech. Plus, in our digital life hack, insider tips to improve the performance of your smartphone and help you put off that painful and expensive upgrade. All this next here on Komando. Well, you can Google anything, but to get my trusted advice, there's only one place to go. Visit komando.com whenever you need a digital hand, and I'm right there for you. With David in Oriskany, Virginia. What's on your mind today?
My wife and I are celebrating our 40th anniversary.
Congratulations.
And thank you. We are taking a trip to Israel.
Oh, how fun.
Yes, we're very excited. But I'm concerned about the internet security while we're there. And in fact, I've been told to not even bring my computer with me. And I'm a pastor, and I would like to write a blog for my church about our experiences. And I've considered the VPN that you've mentioned and was wondering if you think that's sufficient and effective enough for my purposes.
Well, so you want to bring a computer so that this way you can offload all the photos and do a travel blog, right?
Correct.
Because that's really hard to do on a phone. It is.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I travel, I have to carry my MacBook. Because I do a lot of stuff on it. If I have to record something, in a split second, or if I want to keep track of all the photos and videos and GoPro videos or whatever we have going on. I do use a VPN. I use ExpressVPN. As you mentioned, they are a sponsor. And you can, when you sign in, you'll see that everything's encrypted. And there's not tracking, because what you definitely don't want to do is just go willy-nilly on any public Wi-Fi, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Because then you're you're literally just asking for trouble at that point. And so when you sign in on the VPN on your laptop, it'll say like, what server do you want to be? What I do is I come back to the United States, and so you could pick a server in Washington D.C. or Seattle. I think there was also one in Chicago, New York. And so all your traffic is being routed, and it's encrypted to bank standards going through the system.
You'd mentioned that on the freebies that you can get, that there's real degradation on the signal. Is that pretty much across the board with the free ones?
Yeah, because they're going to be doing some bait and switch. And so they're going to give it to you for free, and then they're going to clamp it down. But now you've already committed to it, right? You've already got it. And so you're more inclined to give them a credit card at that point than to say, let me uninstall it and let me try another free one. I'd bring definitely bring my laptop, use Wi-Fi, make sure that did you get the mobile passport app?
No, I've not.
Okay, get that, because you're going to love me forever. Now we are truly going to be joined at the hip. Because with the mobile passport app, when the 400 people get off the plane in Atlanta, or wherever you're going to go through. You'll probably go through Atlanta. Everybody goes through Atlanta. on your part of the world is that when you land back in the United States, when the 400 people get off the plane, David, they're going to go to the right. And then you and your lovely bride are going to look for a sign that says mobile passport. And when you go to the mobile passport line, last time I did, a couple months ago, I was coming back from Heathrow in London, back here in Phoenix, there were 3 people in the mobile passport line.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, and 400 people in the other line. Okay, so
so who do you get that through then?
you just go in the App Store. It's through Homeland Security and Border Patrol. And now keep in mind, there's a pay version for that. Don't fall for it. You don't need the pay version. When you think of public art, things like murals and architecture and sculptures are probably what comes to mind. Well, my next guest has taken his artistic expression, well, to the streets with his own unique style. And he's created this impressive 53 works to date. And joining me on the show today is Lenny Mon from San Francisco, California. And he's going to share with us how he's mastered the art of running. Okay, normally running and art doesn't quite go together, right, Lenny?
No, it's something new. Usually you have a paintbrush or a pen and you put it on paper, but instead I put my sweat on the city streets. So San Francisco is my canvas and my sweat is my paintbrush.
And so explain to us how you use Strava, the GPS app, to figure out how to draw Batman on the streets of San Francisco?
Well, I have to plan it in advance. Strava just records what I do, and it's quite meticulous. I have to be very, very careful and look at a paper map. That's how I work. I sketch it out on a paper map and refine it, and it goes through many iterations until I get it just right. Then I take that paper map, and as I start my run, I press start on the Strava app. I go do it. I make sure not to make any wrong turns, or I have to start over.
Oh, do we not turn here?
And when I'm done, I press finish, and my design renders as I designed it, and I'm done. It always looks a little bit different than what I designed because of the GPS markings aren't precise, and that's great. It adds a little chaos to the shape. So I love that little randomness that it interjects into the shape that I intended to draw.
So now, Lenny, how many miles do you run to create a typical work of art?
Oh, I don't know. I would say about 20 miles on average. I think the shortest one I ever did was 0.9 miles. That was just a slice of pizza. The longest one I think was 44 miles, and that was an outline of a runner. But you know, it's not about the miles. It's not about the miles or the speed or even the elevation. Remember, this is San Francisco. You can't avoid the hills, but it's about the shape.
And so, what do you think was the hardest run for you to do?
That probably is a recent one that I completed last month, Frida Kahlo, a portrait of Frida Kahlo. That was hard, not in terms of the miles. It was just about 30 miles, but it was hard because of getting it just right. I kept messing up on her eyes, and so I'd have to start all over. And I finally got it right to my satisfaction last month.
So it's like, you know, like run, Lenny, run, right?
Run, Forrest, run,
Yeah.
Run, Lenny, run.
So how do you come up with what you want to draw on the streets?
I use my imagination. It's much like when we were kids and we would lay back and look at the clouds and see shapes in the clouds. I just use my imagination. Sometimes I'll look at the city map of San Francisco. There's many different maps and they're laid out differently. And they all kind of inspire imagining what shape I see in the grids of the city streets. Or I will come up with a design in advance, Frida Kahlo, for example, and I'll try to make it fit within the streets. I think I can keep doing this every month, probably for the rest of my life, and not run out of ideas.
I bet you can. So I noticed that you had quite a lot of Star Trek designs. Is there a particular reason for that?
When I first wanted to do this, I wanted to do a shape that's kind of original. I didn't want to do what other people were starting to do by using shapes that were clever and funny, but not too original. And I wanted to do a hand shape, and I didn't want to do the expected peace sign or any other hand gesture. And Leonard Nimoy had recently died. There's a lot of talk about him. And he, of course, is known for his Vulcan salute. And I thought, you know, that might be a nice thing to do as a proof of concept. So I sketched out Vulcan salute, and I ran it, and I pressed finish, and there it was. It was exactly what I designed. And I was real happy with that. So I thought I would continue that.
Well, that's pretty awesome, Lenny. Thanks for telling everybody your story and how you are running around San Francisco. So if we see this crazy guy on the streets, we know that he's not really crazy. He's actually creating something.
Run, Lenny, run.
You got it, Lenny. And you see, ladies and gentlemen, this is just an example of how technology can bring a little fun and creativity into our lives. So if you or someone you know has a story that you'd like to share with us, just hit my website, komando.com. And at the bottom of every page, you see a link that says Contact Us. Next, I have a very special guest to play America's favorite game show. That's right, it's time for another round of Brand New or Not True. But who is he? Let's just say it could be a family feud happening right here on Komando. So how'd you like an advertising-free social media network? Well, you're going to love our Komando community. Check it out right now at community.komando.com. All right, it's time to play America's favorite radio game show sensation. It's time to play Brand New or Not True. That's where we look at the various tech products that are released over the last week and we say, which ones are real and which ones are fake. And joining this week, we have a very special guest. He's the man who taught me how to do radio, and he's the man who rubs my back almost every night. My husband, Barry Young.
Thank you. Thank you. What an introduction.
So we're going to play Brand New or Not True, but we have to have a bet, okay? Because, game shows always need something, some competitiveness about it. So what should our bet be?
I'm just shocked to be here. So I have don't look at me. I got nothing up my sleeve. This is all you.
It's you didn't prepare?
I couldn't be more surprised to be here than if I had awakened with my tongue stapled to this desk.
Okay, well, I told you we were doing this like 20 minutes ago. Well, I mean, come on, you should be ready. Okay, I have an idea for a bet. Okay. All right. So, if in the unlikely event with my superior intellect, if I lose, what is the one thing that you do that I hate the most? Okay.
Oh, God, there's so many.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll narrow it down. Okay. All right. What is that show? It's like, oh, I know what it is. That show Perry Mason. If I hear that theme for Perry Mason one more time, I'm going to scream.
Yes.
Okay.
I like nostalgia television a lot. So if you lose and I win, you have to watch at least one episode of Perry Mason, Route 66, and The Twilight Zone.
All three in a row?
All three.
Okay, so then if you lose and I win, you have to watch, House Hunters.
Yeah.
Okay, because you love that show.
Yeah.
And then after that, we'll watch House Hunters International.
Okay, let me give you an entire House Hunters episode. Can I?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
What's your price point?
Wow. You know what I like the best? I like the best that you really can't tell that the bricks are falling down. Oh, wow.
Okay, yes. All right, so you ready to play?
Yeah, let's play.
Product number one. Video doorbells are pretty common. We have a Ring doorbell, but it's nothing compared to the Master Video C system that boasts high-level features, including a 2K sensor, HDR, that stands for High Dynamic Range, human and facial detection, night vision, and a 160-degree viewing angle. The aspect ratio, 4:3, so it's comparable to the Nest Hello and the Ring Pro doorbell. But what really sets this whole system apart is that you can see outside and inside the house, because with the Master C video cam, you can put that inside the house, and so you can see actually who's answering the door and who's coming to the door. And you also get alerts, videos, history, just like the other doorbells. But in addition to all that good stuff, you also get 8 gigabytes of local storage. So you don't have to pay that monthly storage fee like the other doorbells.
Okay. What's number two?
Product number two is, you ever want to practice ping pong and there was no one around? Well, now there's the Infinity Table Tennis Training Robot.
Excuse me.
Yes.
How do you practice ping pong when there's no one around before the robot came?
You didn't, because you can't just like hit it and then run to the other side and then run back. Okay, so now you have the Infinity Table Tennis Training Robot. They say it's It's the perfect table tennis training partner with its completely customizable settings like spin and frequency and speed. It will never get mad, never get tired. It will always be ready to take you to that next level of ping pong. The robot is controlled via an app on both iOS and Android, connects via Bluetooth, and then you have pre-programmed drills. But here's the deal. The Infinity robot can shoot about 30 to 100 balls per minute, at varying speeds of 2.5 miles per hour up to 45 miles per hour, a ping pong ball. After all, what do you serve and you never eat? A ping pong ball.
Right. Can you make a ping pong ball go 25 miles an hour?
Okay, who are you looking around for?
Huh?
The crew's not going to help you.
Oh.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Number 3. Who pets your dog or cat when you're not home, or even when you're home and you're just too tired? You need the Info Electronics Robotic Pet Petter.
Right.
Using a combination of accelerometers, gyroscopes, cameras, and sensors, your best friend just stands on the pad, this robotic arm comes out, and the hand goes to work. Standing up 3 feet over the pad, the robotic arm and hand takes your place. Using the app on your iPhone or Android, you select how the pet petter should work. There are various settings for time, as well as how many pets per minute.
Yeah.
That ranges from 5 to 60 ppms, pets per minute.
Right.
Originally developed as a doctoral project by an MIT student, the robotic pet petter quickly became a viral sensation on Kickstarter. It was fully funded in 36 hours for close to $400,000 last year. It's going to be shipping just in time for Christmas.
All right. So now let's start from number 3 going back to number 1.
Okay, yes.
The pet thing is not the real one. I don't think it's the master video thing. I don't see it. What did you say, 150-degree field of view?
160-degree viewing angle.
But it's still a 4:3 aspect ratio?
Yes.
You can't see anything. It's got to be the ping pong ball dummy that shoots the balls at close to 45 miles an hour. It's got to be that.
Okay, I'm going to give you a chance. Are you really sure? Are you sure?
What?
Are you sure that that's the right one?
Am I sure?
Yes. Are you absolutely positive that that's the right product?
You know what? That's a harder bar to... When we got married, did the guy look at you and me and say, are you sure? Are you sure?
You really want to do this?
That's my answer. I put my answer in, and I'm right. Go ahead. It's a beautiful answer. I'm right. It's a great answer.
Okay.
Nobody in the history of this show has had a better answer, a righter answer, and a quicker answer than that one.
Let's ask what the judges say.
Barry is absolutely correct, and Kim's going to be watching some Perry Mason.
Yola Infinity.
I can't believe.
Tell you.
Most technologically advanced table tennis robot.
See?
Oh, my God.
It's a beautiful thing. Now, I happen to know
Yes.
that on the DVR at home, I have the last 306 episodes of Perry friggin' Mason.
Okay, he's not kidding. He actually has 300 episodes
Right.
of Perry Mason on the DVR. It's
Right.
crazy. Next, an Italian architect has designed the bed of the future. And if you really, really like Netflix, you have to see our Tomorrow's Tech Today here on Komando. So, would you take a flight to space? Commercial space travel might not be ready for prime time, but a new spaceport is underway. Virgin Galactic recently revealed the world's first commercial spaceport called Spaceport America. It's being built in New Mexico. The British Space Fleet Company is showing off the first phase, including the Gateway to Space that houses mission control and the ground level that acts as a shared lounge for both customers and employees. Virgin Galactic successfully launched their space plane into space last December and has been running other space test flights since then. Over 600 people have already put down deposits to take a flight into suborbital space in the Spaceship Two plane, which the company says is only months away. Now, if you decide that you want to take the trip, don't get your hopes up about finding budget fares or discounts on kayak. Tickets cost, get this, around $250,000 each. Commercial spaceflight isn't the only science fiction becoming reality. Let's talk about future health tech. Over 100,000 people are on transplant waiting lists, and that's in the U.S. alone. But what if you could 3D print an organ? Bioengineers have made a major breakthrough to create 3D printed replacement organs. A team of researchers from 3 U.S. universities and a design firm showed off a 3D model of an air sac that successfully mimics the function of human lungs. The big takeaway from this research is that this air sac would be able to deliver oxygen to the surrounding blood vessels and create vascular networks similar to what's inside our human body. Now, during the research, one of the big hangups was finding a replacement for chemicals used during transplants that are toxic. And here's where the research gets really sophisticated. To get around that roadblock, one of the researchers took a trip to a supermarket and actually purchased food coloring dye. That apparently did the trick. It just goes to show you that the answers to some of science's biggest questions can be found right in front of you, sometimes even in the baking aisle. Now, no matter how future the world gets, we all still need to sleep. And this new bed comes equipped with a 70-inch retractable screen, a 4K projector, along with built-in speakers and lighting. You can control everything using the companion app for your phone. It's called the Hi Bed. And it's not just about streaming endless Netflix. The bed has tech that monitors your health, such as your body weight and sleeping patterns. Other sensors keep track of room temperature and air quality. The Hi Bed is a follow-up to a similar bed released by the Italian company Hi Interiors called the Hi Can. The bed costs around 14 grand or so. Hey, this kind of convenience doesn't come cheap. And just think, if the company ever decides to release an optional bathroom add-on, you might never, ever have to get out of bed again. And now, future sounds. If you look at the last few years, one of tech's staples, the tried and true headphones, have been going through an evolution. Whether it's the over-the-ear variety or earbuds, many have gone wireless as sound quality gets better, while new features like voice commands and water resistance has become more common. Now, another company is looking to shake things up visually again with the Human headphones, the first truly wireless over-the-ear smart headphones. Now, first off, they are a little strange looking. Each over-the-ear speaker is wireless, so it almost looks like you're wearing ear muffs. But it's apparently what's inside that counts, like touch gestures to adjust settings, take calls, and activate a voice assistant. A 9-hour battery life, and get this, these future headphones will translate up to 11 different languages. Oh, and they're not just headphones. Take them off, put them together, and you've got a stereo Bluetooth speaker that's ready to play music, act as a smart speaker with a voice assistant, or translate group conversations. You can order the Human headphones now for the same price as those top-of-the-line Bose headphones at about $400. So goodbye AirPods, hello Air Muffs. All right, next, I'm going to introduce you to a 10-year-old coder who is grabbing the attention of Google and Microsoft, only here on Komando. So I came across an article about a 10-year-old girl whose story sounded really familiar to me. Now, many of you know my story of going to work with my mom at Bell Labs in New Jersey and playing this crazy game called Hunt the Wumpus, and really just learning how to code at a young age. I think I was about 9 then. Well, my next guest is the founder, inventor of the board game Coder Bunnies that teaches players as young as 4 some basic coding concepts. And after I saw this, I just knew I had to have her on her show. Please welcome Samara Mehta. Samara, thank you for joining us. I have so many questions for you today, but at what age did you really say, this is something that I want to pursue?
I was about 6 when I was first introduced to coding with my dad. He actually introduced it to me with a little prank when he showed me something on his computer, which had one button and a command, which said, press this if you're beautiful. So when I tried, my mouse pointer touched the "You are beautiful" command, and it just disappeared. So I was a little confused. I was like, how did you do that? Am I not beautiful? What's going on here? So he told me that he used something called coding to create it, and I think that's what really got me interested in coding, because I wanted to prank my friends in a similar way.
That's good.
And then I started talking to my friends. You know, there's this new concept called coding, and I really like it. In my opinion, it's something really fun. But I saw that many of my friends didn't exactly agree with me, and I thought that was weird. So I wanted to do something about it.
So when you first went to your friends, because you're like, what, 6, 7 years old, right? And they're playing with dolls and cars and trucks and maybe iPads and video games and things like that. And you're saying, okay, all this is really great and fun, but hey, instead of playing like with My Little Pink Pony, we could create the Little Pink Pony, right? I mean, so did they think you were like a little weird?
You know, I thought maybe, but a lot of my friends supported my idea, maybe giving it a try. You know, if I could make coding fun for them, they were willing to try coding once again. And so that's why I decided to create a board game. You know, I mean, all kids love playing board games, so I thought, what better way? And, you know, it really got them involved once I showed them some of my very early prototypes. They loved the idea, and that's when I realized that something as complex as computer programming can be converted into something as simple as a board game.
What is the concept of the board game? How does it work? And how do you play? And who becomes the winner?
So in the game, each player has their own bunny, and the overall objective is for the bunny to eat its colored carrots and then reach the destination. So now they have code cards that include move forward, turn left, turn right, and jump, which allow the bunny to move in certain directions to get them closer to either their carrot or their destination. Now, while doing this, they learn various coding concepts that can be used in real computer programming. For example, in just the very basic levels, you can learn something like sequencings and conditionals. But,
Sure.
you know, as you play more and more advanced levels of the game, you can learn all sorts of programming languages, such as stack, queue, list, parallelism, functions, repeat, and so many others. So my goal is that with these games, I want to introduce kids to the concepts of computer programming. No particular language, but the behind the scenes or the actual concept that goes into every single programming language. So that when the kids go on the computer to do the real programming, it'll be a lot familiar, it'll be easier for them to connect and in turn learn computer programming in a fun way.
And that's really great, Smart, because a lot of kids, when they just turn on their computers or they play their video games or whatever it may be, or even if they're just using Google Docs, they don't really think about what's happening behind the scenes to make all that possible. So how many of these board games have you sold?
So up till now, I have sold about 17,000 games, making
Wow.
revenue a little over 700K. And right now, these profits are going back into creating more games, and I'm saving a little bit for my college education as well. But homelessness is also a topic very close to my heart, so I'm using some of the funds to give back and donate to the homeless.
Well, you know what, Smart, you got it going on, girlfriend. I'm so proud of you. I really am. I think you're awesome.
Thank you so much.
Okay, now here's the deal. I want you to do a few things for me. Number one is I want you to give your mom and dad a big hug because they're doing a great job. I want you to also know how wonderful you are and how beautiful and how driven you are and how great of a future that you have ahead of you. And if you ever get to Phoenix, I want you to come by and say hello and also keep us posted of everything that you're doing, okay?
Thank you, of course.
Okay, gosh, I'll tell you. Well, isn't she just a little smarty pants? If you have kids, show them this interview. Maybe it will inspire them to say, put the Xbox controller down. Now, if you've seen something amazing about technology, I want you to share it with me. Head over to komando.com and use that link that says, contact us. Next, in my DIY security tip, I give you the steps to make sure your smart television screen, well, it's not watching you here on Komando. It's time now for our digital life hacks tip. Every week we put one of these together for you to make life easier for you in this digital age. And this week we're going to talk about your smartphone. All right, when's the last time that you did any maintenance on your smartphone? Okay, you check the tires in your car, you put gas in your car, maybe even know how to change the oil, but what about your smartphone? Well, it could be getting all slow and bogged down because you're not taking care of it. So let's start at the beginning. Number one, time to clean out any unused apps because they're not only taking space, is that they're also could be using some of your valuable memory. And you'd be surprised how many apps you've downloaded over the years that you've never used or you haven't used in forever. And this applies to both iPhones and Androids. And over on the website, we're going to tell you exactly how to make sure that you delete data for good and these apps for good. You also want to monitor these battery draining apps, rather. It's unusual at the end of the day for your phone to have, say, less than 50% power. Well, here's the deal, is that maybe it's now 15% or maybe it's 5%. Maybe some new apps are draining your battery. Now, among the biggest power eating apps are Facebook, Facebook Messenger, Snapchat, Tinder, the Weather Channel, AccuWeather, and also these apps that monitor your battery. Guess what? They're also using up the battery. We have a link to more of these apps too on the website. But when it's not apps draining your battery, what else could it be? Well, it could be maybe the Bluetooth, the GPS, the Wi-Fi. You want to turn them off if you're not using them. So if you're in a place with no Wi-Fi, just turn off the connection or just head into airplane mode, and then your phone will stop hunting for a signal. You also want to make sure that you update your apps and your operating systems because continually there are always updates. And if you're not getting them, you're not sure if you even have them, now's a good time to look. Speaking of the battery, you want to maintain the health of your battery. A couple of tips to pass along here. Charging your phone battery before it runs completely down might hurt your battery in the long run. So it's a good idea to let the battery run down fully once in a while. And now you want to do is keep your phone charged between 80 and 40%. And you want to keep the battery cool. You also want to restart your phone from time to time, especially if it started acting up. You want to stay vigilant on security. Maybe you're getting pop-up ads, battery's draining, you see spikes in data usage, unexpected apps appear on your screen. That could mean that there's some malicious apps going around. We'll tell you more about that. And then also, finally, we're going to tell you some smart ways to increase your storage because maybe you tried to download a movie and it just doesn't pop, and you're sitting there saying, oh, I just ran out of space, so what can I do? Well, look no further silly than the official homepage of the Kim Komando Show. That's komando.com, of course. Head over to komando.com, and once you're there, hit that Show Picks button right on the homepage. Interesting items that cross my desk and my screen, and first of which, ready to buy a brand new Apple Watch? We'll hold off because it looks like we're going to have another version of the watch, and it's going to have a faster processor and some different color options. Doesn't sound like it's going to have any groundbreaking new features yet, but the big upgrades are maybe even another year away, like native sleep tracking, which I'd have interned to mean it has to have a much better battery. But eventually there's supposed to be the ability to charge the watch wirelessly by placing it on an iPhone, kind of like Samsung products work now. But this year's model is supposed to come in two new finishes. It's going to debut in September, ceramic and titanium. Now, no previous Apple Watch had titanium. There was ceramic for the Series 2 and 3, just not the Series 4, so it's kind of like something's old is kind of new again. Maybe. I really think they need to up their innovations department. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. All right. In a perfect world, you'd be able to buy plane tickets and book accommodations for your big trip months in advance with no problems. But if you wait, it's like sometimes you miss out on the discounts, right? Well, there's a service been around for a few years you might not know about that allows you to pay for your vacation in installments. A service called Cheap Air, along with the finance company Affirm, they offer a payment plan for flights and hotel accommodations that you book through them. Payment plan for the specific cost of a flight and hotel, or by asking for a set dollar amount in advance before you book anything. So the payments can be split over 3, 6, or 12 months. Now, the bad part, you're basically taking out a loan, and loans come with interest, right? So good credit will get you about a 10% APR. If you got bad credit, it's like 30%. So if you have to go that route, at least pay it off very, very quickly. So otherwise, that beautiful vacation is going to be haunting you for a long, long time. All right, let's talk about Amazon. You know, now Amazon is selling, and everybody's talking about online, a foldable sauna that you can take with you anywhere because I guess why not? It's become a trend in wellness, they say, over the past 4 years, thanks to certain celebrities who actually swear by them. Now, the infrared part is important because unlike your run-of-the-mill variety, this kind of sauna creates heat using light, and several studies have found some health benefits. Now, the popularity has led to boutique spas all around the country. People pay about $70 a session. Now you can really enjoy them because Amazon's got the option to bring the spa to you. You got a lot to choose from. It sounds strange when we're talking about. Now, if it's an infrared sauna party that you're looking for, there's also a 4-person cedar model made by Radiant Saunas with all the bells and whistles, including, yes, a surround sound system. This one will set you back $2,000, and you certainly won't be able to pack it up and carry it around anywhere, but talk about having ready for it, a hot product. Yes. I practiced that one too. It's time now for our DIY security tip of the week here on the Kim Komando Show. We put this together for you every single week. And if you're watching us on television, you might be thinking to yourself, What is Kim talking about? My TV is watching me now? Yes, it's not just your smartphones that's tracking everything that you're doing. Now, some smart TVs, they say they're collecting data anonymously, but are they? Because a $500 TV is on average about $200 cheaper than it was just a previous year. So now these TVs are equipped with analytical software that keeps tabs on your viewing habits. And then the data is then sold to advertising and data firms, which pay TV manufacturers for their data collection. And the savings are passed on to you, the consumer. So what it's called is ACR, automatic content recognition. These are algorithms that work at the pixel level, identifying every ad, show, or movie that you're watching. This actually includes content from your streaming devices, broadcast TV, even your Blu-ray discs. Even legacy tech like DVDs are not immune from ACR. So with ACR, it collects all this data and it sends it back to them, who the data then gets sold. Now, if this doesn't bother you, then you don't need to worry about it. But if you have a Vizio TV, you might even be entitled to some money from a class action lawsuit too, by the way, because ironically, this lawsuit is the very thing that you're trying to disable. The company had gotten in some trouble with that. So we're going to walk you through how to disable tracking on your Vizio TVs, your Samsung TVs, your LGs, your Amazon Fire TV, and even your Roku TV. So for all the step-by-steps, look no further than the official homepage of The Kim Komando Show, which is easy. It's komando.com, of course, komando.com. And once you're there, hit that button for that Show Picks button right on the homepage.
Standby control. Cue Kim.
Social media warning labels? Well, I'm going to tell you why this might not be a bad idea next here on Komando. It seems weird to think that before Facebook, all these crazy thoughts just stayed in people's heads. You know what I'm talking about. Anger and sometimes vile over anything and everything political. Dirty, ugly family confessions, and I love this, arguments that turn into nothing other than public shaming. There's never a bad day, only the perfect meal and sunset, child, dog, house, and spouse. Oh, and let's not forget conspiracy theories and fake news on it. Facebook has 2.3 billion monthly active users. At last count, the average person spends a little under an hour every single day on Facebook. And let me tell you, that's an hour too long. One of the most liberating things I have done in the last year is not checking my Facebook account. It's freedom from what easily turns into a huge time suck. The way Facebook is programmed is designed specifically to feed an addiction. So the more you check Facebook and the more time you're on it, the more you're giving into big tech data tracking and marketing. Think of all the years cigarettes were sold without any warning labels. Someday, we may have warning labels on tech. And until then, be strong and, hey, put the screen down and get a little fresh air. You may just come out of the house and find yourself squinting at the sun. And keep your digital know-how going, though. Find your local radio station that broadcasts my show, along with more DIY tips, videos, free newsletters delivered from me to your email address, and ebooks on our website. That's komando.com, and thanks so much for watching.